I believe that we're not going to have open source for everything in synthetic biology. I think there are some things that are going to be open source and others that are going to be patented. And what's patented today might be open source tomorrow because as the field progresses, it's going to just trivialize what was done and patented. But I think it's really important that some of these basic components be put out as open source because we want this entire field to grow. And if you've got to get a license for every component you use in your construct, that you'll eat up every dime that you might have otherwise made as a company just on the licensing. And that will prevent projects where there's little income, like production of an anti-malarial drug, like production of biofuels. Even in the case of biofuels, there's a lot of profit, but the margins are low. And so that could make that a little difficult to do those kinds of projects. I think that strategies like the PCR licensing are going to be really important for synthetic biology going forward. We really need to think creatively about this area. SynBERC doesn't have a legal team, as it were, but SynBERC does have some experts working on and thinking about how we might go about patenting components or not patenting components and offering them open source. So really looking into the entire IP landscape. So patents were created with this idea that they would be published and then that would allow other inventors to build on the work of the previous inventors. The problem with patents is they're expensive. What might be better is if we had some type of journal that you could publish your components in, and the journal would set the standards for how the data sheets would look and what kinds of information had to be in those data sheets, and maybe even had an underwriter's laboratory that was attached to that would verify those components. Now, clearly this could all be done in a fab. We'd like to enable, though, people all over the world who are creating components to contribute to that. So we've got to have some mechanism for components to come into the fab and be underwritten or have the underwriter's stamp of approval.